Good day, everyone, and welcome to Active Citizens Parliament. On a good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending your time zone. Once again, today we're here to discuss the things that are trending in Nigeria. As you know, there has been a very, very serious breaking news that not just interests us, but interests Nigerians, and especially Kogi Central Senatorial District. They are actually rejoicing right now because whether we call it a miracle has happened or God has decided that God's will Akpabio is not going to have his way. But it has happened as INEC, the people that Nigerians detest so much, have decided to come out from that very conspiracy to recall Senator Natasha from the National Assembly. So that is breaking, and it's a very good news going on around here. Everybody should be very happy for her on this. Let's see how they move ahead with this. But let me give you these things in detail. As the INEC has ruled that the petition to recall Senator Natasha Akpabio, who represents Kogi Central Senatorial District, does not meet the necessary legal requirements. INEC, in a statement today, said that only 43.86% of the signatories could be verified. They also said that the petition failed to fulfill the conditions set under Section 69A of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Constituents from Kogi Central had submitted, according to them, the recall petition to INEC last month. The petition was accompanied by 6 bags filled with documents containing signatures, according to them, which was gathered from over half of the 474,554 registered voters in the district. These signatures, actually, the verification is just something that they said they do, but I don't know how they have done that. Well, that was gathered across the 5 local government areas of Adabia, Jokuta, Magogo, Kehi, and Okene. But INEC was expected to verify these signatures before deciding whether the recall process could proceed according to INEC regulations. But guess what? For a record to move forward, more than half of the registered voters in the senatorial district must sign the petition. If this threshold is met, the commission is required to conduct a referendum within 90 days. However, what happened today? If the petition does not meet the required number of signatures, INEC must issue a public notice confirming its rejection. And that is what happened today. The recall petition stems from, as everybody knows, ongoing controversy surrounding Senator Akpabio's suspension from the Senate on March 6 for alleged gross misconduct following a dispute with the Senate's President Godswill Akpabio. A whole lot of issues, but in this one, Godswill Akpabio did not prevail. That Nigerians can see. He did not win. So I can say that for now, that Senator Natasha has won. Whatever is your take on this, go to the comment section. I have a lot of people who had reached out and said that this is just the beginning, that INEC is still going to do something like going to verify those signatures in this. But when you see the crowd that actually come out, you start wondering, is it the same people that want to verify signatures? And to verify signatures of these people we are seeing on the screen, do we think it's really feasible? Given the fact that this woman is also doing empowerment as we speak, she continuously does that. Well, we'll be talking more about this recall process and how constituents are empowered to recall in the right direction, the constitutional way, the appropriate electoral act to be applied. We'll be discussing about that today by 8 p.m. Nigerian time, which is, of course, West African time, on our X space, Citizen X space. So you can check this out with us. We'll be having a discussion with Sam Amadi, Dr. Sam Amadi, and the topic will interest you, compromising statement by INEC, which they have come back today to, to rectify. Why should the recall process be more expensive than senatorial election? A case study of this Natasha Hqtrs politically motivated recall process. Join us. Do not miss it for anything. Today by 8 p.m. Be with us. I wait to hear from your comment. Go to comment section. And of course, we did put on the line, when you go to this very video, you will find a link that will take you to the active citizens. That is on the description of this video. Hit that very link there, go and like and retweet and repost so that people will join us to have a discussion on this. We are all for people who have done, who are not performing, who are not motivating, who are not empowering their constituents to be recalled. We are all for that, but not politically motivated, ill-conceived recall. We are not for that. Join us as we talk that. Okay, next thing on the line now is Wike speaks for the first time after the rumor of his death. Then talk saying don't come out. Talk say he no go anywhere. So they even go anywhere too. So Wike finally speaks on the report of collapsing last week. Let's have a dive into what the Minister of the FCT said today. He said that he said it is just ridiculous. But let me put it in a very subtle way. He vehemently dismissed circulating reports that he collapsed last week, labeling the claims as the work of individuals seeking to score cheap political points. This is coming from Wike. Well, the reports that Wike made the statement after inspecting 4 ongoing projects in FCT today, including the International Conference Center, is just everywhere. I know he's going to, of course, get to calling channels, Arise. He's going to put a media chart where you will clear things. But for now, I think that everybody should just, let's wait. And he disclosed that there's no hospital treatment and there's nothing. But we see that Wike we saw in the video is not the usual Wike. But Wike's Senior Special Assistant on Public Communication and Social Media, Ranle Olayinka, had already debunked these 4 reports, calling them fake. And the Special Advisor to Chief Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, also refuted the rumors. On a post on Sunday, Ononuga slammed the spread of that as fake news, accusing online people he called idiots as false. Well, the video that we have for now will show you that Wike is not so well about in his body, at least, that we can see. We don't know about if residents of FCT can ask for his health status. Well, it's up to them. But for now, that is how we are going to hold this. But just know that Wike has started to parade. Well, if he falls on a stroke again and is going to be flown abroad for treatment, that's wait for another day. All the people where they do the juju, where they do everything, I don't know whether the thing know they work for now again, or be the thing know they shake the body that side. They make on check well again, whether the thing know they work again. Well, let me answer to some comments about Edo State's election. There is so much talk going on. And the people who are of the opinion that there is something wrong had happened in Edo State may be right, may be wrong. But analysts are seriously discussing those issues, and they are of the opinion that PDP is going to find it very difficult, if not impossible, to succeed in the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court. Let's take a bite from what Osoma said on a recent interview just about the judgment that affirmed the election of the governor of Edo State. Let's take a listen from that. Until 8 p.m., do not miss out on joining us on this special edition of the Active Citizens Parliament Space. 8 p.m., Dr. Sam Amadi will be joining us, to educate us on all of this process. But for now, let's hear about the outcome of the judgment of the Edo State. Until then, bye for now.
No surprises. Thank you, and thank you, Deji. No surprises at all. I had told people I have been doing election petition matters since 2003, and specifically I've represented INEC in election petitions in 2011, 2015, 2019, 2023. And so, for proving election irregularity, especially for governorship and the presidential election in Nigeria, is a tall order because the Supreme Court had set, rules and standards. And some of us also believe that as a petitioner, proving election irregularity within 6 months is a very difficult thing to do. And then I do not know. Most times you find lawyers who were lawyers for respondents in previous petitions, now taking up petitions as petitioners. And, so when I saw the petition and I saw the number of witnesses called, and the fact that some of them were jubilated that INEC didn't call witness, that the PDP was jubilated that INEC did not call any witness, I laughed because I've represented INEC and I've been in similar circumstances. When you have not proved overvoting or you have not proved irregularity, why will INEC be calling witnesses? So the moment INEC didn't call witnesses, and being, somebody who has also represented INEC in similar circumstances, I just knew that the petition was dead on arrival. And so, also, if you remember the case of Kanu State, and that of, I think, was it Zamfara?
Yeah.
They are similar. And the one that we can easily remember was that of Osho, where the APC was the petitioner and the PDP was the respondent. It was the same thing that played out. And the court had consistently talked about dumping of materials. You allege irregularity in 100 polling unit, and then you call, 9 witnesses to prove those irregularities. And even if those irregularities are proven in those 9 polling units, the court had always ruled that it's not substantial enough. But in this case, you find out that the witnesses are even collation agents, and not even a polling unit agent. And then you say you don't have a problem with the polling unit. Where you have a problem is the collation. Then certainly your case will be dead on arrival. I think that's basically what happened. When you have a problem with collation and then you are not able to also, like the Supreme Court ruled in Oshun's case, you must resort to the primary evidence. The primary evidence in this case is the BVAS machine. And you must show the record. The BVAS machine must be examined in open court to show truly that this was the result scored at the polling unit, and then that this is different from the results that were recorded for you at the collation center. Failure to prove those results as shown on the BVAS machine at the tribunal by witnesses who were agents at the polling unit will amount to hearsay evidence and will be discountenanced by the courts.
Something the tribunal said, and I want you to react to that, is that, look, the tribunal chairman specifically held that no eyewitnesses were called to testify on alleged overvoting, and as such, making the allegations unbelievable. I know that the case of the PDP was really anchored on this issue of overvoting. So quite a surprise that the witnesses that got there did not actually speak to the issue of overvoting.
What I said was that when they talk about overvoting, they said also that they're disputing the election on the ground of on the fact that collation, discrepancies in collation.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said specifically that is similar to what happened in Oshun. So in that case, the Supreme Court has said, what do? You call eyewitnesses that we are the polling unit, your polling unit agent, and then also you must tender the BVAS machine for examination, and the BVAS machines must be examined in open court to show that the results that were recorded for you at the polling unit is different from the result that was recorded for you at the collation center. Once you're able to show those discrepancies, because now it is the BVAS machines that are used to record the votes. But in this case, when you call collation agent, but you refuse to call the polling unit agent to show that truly there are two results. This is the result from the polling unit. There's discrepancies between what was recorded at the polling unit and what was recorded at the collation center. And then you went ahead just only to call collation agent without calling the polling unit agent. First and foremost, establish the actual vote garner. Then certainly it will be hearsay because the collation agent was not at the polling unit where the vote was cast. And the polling unit agent is the primary source of witness. It's witness who give the primary source of evidence. And that's basically what court had consistently maintained. So, but you know, the naysayers will always say, oh, is it not Nigerian judiciary and the rest? But over time, it has the court had made it very difficult the Supreme Court had made it very difficult for courts to interfere in election once the result had been announced. And because also the results are presumed regular once they are announced, court also made it very difficult for any court to interfere in those results. That's basically what has played out.
What about the case of the AA now? That's the Action Alliance and their court party. In the case of Action Alliance, you saw the way it played out.
The Action Alliance was a
one of the
petitioners
petitioners
should have even been in tribunal. They didn't feed any candidate. And then they brought an election petition matter. And we know that by virtue of, I think, Section 131 of the Electoral Act, you must be a candidate in an election before you can feed because you can file election petition. And so that one was just one of the rabble-rousers. And therefore, a court party, a party that scored 200 and something votes, is challenging an election, you know, where they didn't even win one polling unit. So it was, for me, those were just busybodies.
Now, the PDP has said it is going to appeal. It's heading to the Court of Appeal. Do you see this case going up to the Supreme Court? Obviously. Yes,
certainly politicians will always get to the Supreme Court. But what I think it is just a way of encouraging supporters so that supporters will not say that they have been compromised. But they know that there is no merit in their petition, really, from what we had seen from the beginning.
Now, just before I let you go, let me ask you this. You know that the National Assembly is trying to amend the Constitution, especially at the House of Reps now. You know that bill is before the House of Reps, you know, to stop governorship election petitions now at the Court of Appeal as we used to have it before, rather than have it go up to the Supreme Court. What's your take on that? I would
rather that it start at the Court of Appeal and terminate at the Supreme Court because we're going back, the mischief that was intended to cure, we're just going back to it. A situation where you have conflicting judgment on the same set of facts. We're just going to go back to that. So the governorship election can start at the Court of Appeal and terminate at the Supreme Court. That way, the Supreme Court is able to deal with all of the issues, you know, and put a finality to it. Unlike what you have, where in Rivers, the Court of Appeal will give a different judgment and the facts are similar. In Edo, it will be different. But over time, the Supreme Court has streamlined and is being consistent with the Supreme Court. So I would rather that the matter will start at the Court of Appeal and terminate at the Supreme Court instead of this idea going back, you know, after we've cured the mischief, we'll go back to the same mischief.